Mabrey. That's a flagrant foul.
Aloha. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. I am Geneva. This is Geneva in General. And oh my goodness, guys, I just took like a 12+ hour flight to my final destination. As you can see, guys, I made sure as soon as I landed here, I got laid. As you can see, it's so pretty, so cute. I literally just became a time traveler, guys. I literally just went back 6 hours in time, so I'm completely jet lagged. But guys, we need to discuss some things because a lot of people have been hitting me up and asking me about my thoughts on the whole Malice in the Palace, as I'm about to call it. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but that whole little brawl, I didn't want to call it a brawl, but let's be real. It was a very physical and heated altercation that occurred in last night. Okay, right now it's 4 p.m. my time, Pacific, I believe Pacific Standard Time. East Coast time, I believe it's like 10 p.m. at night. I'm so sorry, guys, I'm making this video, but again, I literally got jet lagged. I just literally went 6 hours back in time. But let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, late last night, the freaking WNBA decided to have 6 games, guys. Yes, 6 games on at the same time. And I was only able to catch my Chicago Sky, unfortunately, being defeated by the Washington Mystics. And then I actually was able to replay the Dallas Wings finally getting the dub. Okay, their second dub of the season. They defeated the Golden State Valkyries at the Dallas Wings home court. The Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever pretty much came to blows. Okay, it was a lot going on. The Indiana Fever was able to defeat them in that game, but Sophie Cunningham, they said that she has gone too far. This is not the first time that people have accused Sophie Cunningham of just, doing way too much, being too physical, almost being an aggressive bully in the WNBA. And people are now calling for Caitlin Clark, as well as Sophie Cunningham, as well as Marina Mabrey, and as well as Jacy Sheldon to get flagrant 1 fouls. Now, I'm going to tell you in this article what exactly the WNBA is going to do to all the ladies above. Guys, please forgive me about the lighting in here, okay, in my hotel. It's kind of poor. I got my little desk light going on. But with no further ado, guys, allow me to please read to you a little article by SportsIllustrated.com. It is titled, "The WNBA Reveals Sophie Cunningham, Marina Mabrey Punishment for Feisty Fever Sun Affair." The women's basketball community is still buzzing about the feisty game that the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun played on June 17th. While the Fever ultimately won the game with ease, the storylines that followed were all about several physical altercations that led to multiple technical fouls and ejections. The most unnecessarily physical acts came from Sun wing Marina Mabrey and Fever guard Sophie Cunningham. Mabrey's came when she shoved Caitlin Clark to the ground in the third quarter, which should have earned her a flagrant foul, and in the eyes of many, an ejection, after Clark and Sun guard Jacy Sheldon had an exchange because Sheldon poked her in the eye, which is very ironic because Dejanay Carrington, she actually poked Caitlin Clark in the eye last season during it was the Connecticut Sun versus the Indiana Fever during the playoffs, and they defeated them. Okay, the Indiana Fever got swept up out of the playoffs by the Connecticut Sun. And you know what? Caitlin Clark actually later on came through and actually defended Dejanay Carrington. Okay, I got to give her credit. She said, look, that was not, intentional. Dejanay Carrington said, she did not do it on purpose. Caitlin Clark said she ain't tripping. Dejanay Carrington said, I ain't tripping either. It wasn't, specifically a natural basketball move in that moment. But she was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to intentionally harm another player by trying to gouge out their eyes? And Caitlin Clark agreed again. She said, Dejanay Carrington did not mean it. So the irony, okay, of last night's game is that Jacy Sheldon just, pretty much poked Caitlin Clark in the eye as well. Alas, Mabrey only received a technical foul after the shove, and perhaps this led to Sophie Cunningham retaliating by sending Sheldon to the ground with a hard foul in the fourth quarter, which prompted her and Sheldon to go at each other. Now, again, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't watch the entire game, okay, so y'all don't cut me up, but I did watch a lot of the highlights and a lot of all the videos, because again, this is still trending all over social media. It's different camera angles, the fans giving their point of view of the so-called brawl, the fight that was going on between, Marina Mabrey, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Jacy Sheldon. And you do see Sophie Cunningham in a way throughout the game. It's almost like she was low-key picking on Jacy Sheldon. She just kept coming for her. And then Jacy Sheldon charged after Sophie Cunningham, and Sophie Cunningham kind of put her in a headlock. And it was it was just a hot mess. Cunningham and Sheldon were both ejected after this, and on June 18th, the WNBA revealed what punishments several players would receive for their roles in this intense game. Marina Mabrey's technical from last night's Fever Sun game has been upgraded to a flagrant 2, the league told ESPN. A flagrant 2 comes from a standard fine. ESPN's Alexa Philippou wrote in a Twitter post. She later added, additionally, Sophie Cunningham was fined separately for her hard foul with 46 seconds to play. No players will be suspended. Now, again, with that being said, you have some people who say, that's not fair. Because due to their race. If this was some, black women, which I ain't gonna lie, I kind of low-key saw, Lindsay Allen wasn't coming for Sophie Cunningham. She ran up there and to try to like, separate them, but it was too late. Sophie Cunningham pretty much like sank her freaking claws into Jacy Sheldon. And then Marina Mabrey, she was kind of getting into it, throughout the game with Caitlin Clark. At this point, everybody just needs to have the same punishment. All 4 of those players, in my opinion, should receive a flagrant 1 foul. Suspension, in my opinion, y'all might call me crazy, if there was no blood drawn, if nobody is physically injured, seriously injured, hurt, or ill, give them a flagrant 1. Perhaps a flagrant 2, so again, Marina Mabrey received a flagrant 2, whereas Sophie Cunningham was made to pay a fine. She's going to have to pay monetarily, which is like, again, it's not fair, because a lot of people are like, what, this is a freaking, like, not a running joke, but this is a theme with, not Marina Mabrey, sorry, with her too, but also mainly Sophie Cunningham. They said back in her Missouri days, when she was a college athlete, when she played college basketball, they said like she was known to start brawls, okay, and like, get into tussles. It's like, you need to, make an example out of these women, give them all the same punishment, give them either all flagrant 1s or flagrant 2s, and or also hit them with a fine. It says, therefore, while Cunningham and Mabrey are both getting fined, neither will have to miss a game because of what happened. So there you have it, right? But at the same time, again, first of all, if you may or may not know that I am a fan of aggression and passion in sports, okay? Specifically when it comes to women's basketball. Again, these are professional women. These are professional athletes. Again, of course, I'm not going to say or to ever try to justify or encourage, players to outright, harm each other. But when it comes to like, again, like this is basketball, it's a physical game. Sometimes, things get said. Somebody ain't going to like it. Woo, woo, woo. Things are going to get physical. But at the same time, when it crosses that line, like, again, in my opinion, all 4 of them are out of line. Marina, Sophie, Caitlin, and Jacy. They all handled that poorly throughout the game. It was just too much. They all deserve to be hit with the same punishment across the board. Again, I just don't appreciate like the low-key sexist comments. You got men saying, oh, the women are getting emotional. First of all, this happens all the time in the NBA. Again, guys, you got to remember, not only is this professional basketball, this is the professional women's league, okay, for basketball, the WNBA, obviously. This is currently going through, it's the Commissioner's Cup. They are literally competing for $500,000, okay? What would you do for $500,000 on that court? You got NBA players who would pull weapons, okay, that pew-pew on each other, and everybody would laugh at it, okay? I forgot the name of the player, but somebody was in the air, okay? They was literally on flight. They 30,000 feet up in the air on their plane, and they was playing like a game of poker or spades. Somebody started talking crazy. He literally produced a weapon, okay, and pulled out his weapon on another player. And it kind of gets swept under the rug, laughed at, joked about, etc., etc. But like, again, like when women kind of, we just yake each other up, choke each other up, which again, I'm not saying that's right, but it is what it is. Again, it's the Commissioner's Cup. What would you do for $500,000 is all I'm going to say. Again, it is what it is. But at the same time, I believe all 4 of them should all receive flagrant 2s if it's just going to be Marina Mabrey. Okay, it's not fair for Marina Mabrey to just get a flagrant 2, whereas Sophie Cunningham got a fine. Whereas both Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon appear to just like, get a little slap on the wrist. Again, what you do to one, you must do to all. And that's just how I see it. Guys, comment down below your thoughts on last night's crazy game when the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun almost had a Malice in the Palace Part 2, the WNBA Special Edition.